I'm Salon Blackie with CEO and Her, and we have Kat Theo on the line. She is an influencer and an author. Is that correct?
Yes, I am, and I dabble in a few other things, but I think that pretty much does sum up who I am.
Perfect. And we definitely see how much you are helping society right now, especially on YouTube, with your outlet, because it actually provides people with resources. So with that being said, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with this?
So yeah, YouTube kind of happened on accident. My first video that kind of got big was when I was in Spain. I was just teaching English abroad, and my friends would always complain about how expensive it was to travel. So I kind of made this joke video about honestly targeting my friends, being like, if you're broke, here are some side hustles you can do so you can travel. And that video went viral. And then after that, I started getting subscribers, and I was like, wow, maybe I should actually start being consistent on YouTube. And now it's been, I think probably a little bit over a year since that video now, maybe probably 2 years, probably coming up on 2 years now. And we just hit 150,000 subscribers. So it's been a very fast process. But honestly, it happened by accident, and we just been kind of keep going along with it.
That's perfect. So is it fair to kind of like say like your Sweet Revenge turned into like this success that kind of like came out of nowhere?
Definitely. I mean, I never planned to be a YouTuber. I still don't really, most days, consider myself a YouTuber. It just kind of happened, and I've got a lot of enjoyment out of it because I love sharing information, and I love helping people. And when people comment and email me and say that, they were homeless and now they're not, or they were living in their car and one of my videos helped them get a paycheck, that does make you feel good. It makes you feel like you actually have an impact in the world, which, being a millennial, that's kind of a huge part of how we pick a job is if we feel like we're having some kind of impact in the world we're in. So, yeah, I think it was definitely like on accident.
Awesome. Accidents are sometimes like the best things that happen to us because we never know what they're going to take, where they're going to take us. And what's meant to be is kind of like meant to be. So it was meant to be, right? It pushed you into doing some things that are actually helping people like everywhere, especially right now during the pandemic, being able to find like these resources and these different outlets where you can make an income. I think like that is phenomenal in itself. But you said that you were never planning on being a YouTuber. So if you could choose any profession in the world right now, what would that be?
Oh, that's a difficult question because I'm one of those people who dabble in a lot of things and they're never really satisfied with one thing. Especially when you love to learn new things, you kind of never stick to one profession. But one of my favorite professors I had in college was a man who literally did everything.
Wow.
He did everything from a CNA, he was a professor, he was in the military, he has multiple businesses, he's an entrepreneur, and this guy's a millionaire, and he's at this community college teaching a class, He definitely doesn't have to be there, but he does it because he loves it. So when I took his class, I always said, that's kind of the man, how I want to be, I want to be the same, because a lot of people, they have one career and they do it for 40 years and they retire and that's kind of it. And that works for a lot of people and that's great, but I know you can definitely just kind of learn as you go and enjoy the learning process and the journey and get really far as well. So, but I do love marketing. That's currently kind of my profession right now as marketing. I studied it and I've been doing it for the last 5 years or so. And then real estate is also a pretty big one that I would stick in probably even for the next 30 plus years as long as I can. Yeah. So those are the two top.
Well, definitely, I think real estate is something that's never, ever going to go away. Like, we're always going to need realtors, so that's a great idea. I think so many people who are wealthy, real estate, they have somewhere, some hand, some type of foot in the real estate industry, whether it's providing loans, showing houses, being referrals. But it is very resourceful, and longevity and that business is a smart idea in itself. So with you doing marketing real estate, being an influencer, and also publishing a book titled Layla Escapes the Zoo, right?
Yes, that's correct.
How do you balance all of this with like work, families, friends? How do you balance?
Well, a lot of the income that are more passive, like the author, the book, and some other streams, once it's set up, you don't have to continue working at it. So other than the upfront time to put the book together and write it and edit it and all these things, work with an illustrator, there's no more time that I have to invest into the book anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's right now it's on a platform, Create Space, that's through Amazon. It's print on demand. So once somebody orders a copy, they just ship it. So I don't have to touch the inventory. I don't see it. They just ship me a check and that's it. So a lot of it is kind of already set up on auto, so you don't really have to do anything. But as far as everything else, I currently don't have much of a social life. That's how I manage a lot of my time, because it's just, there's a lot. And on top of that, I'm a full-time student, so there's very little time for really anything. Like just before this interview, I was running from a project, so it's definitely boom, 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 and scheduling out your day literally hour to hour.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like you're managing everything very, very well. And with the book, can you tell us a little bit about where the idea for the book came from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was teaching English in Taiwan, and I was not only the only, or probably the first Black teacher these kids have ever had, because it's very homogenous society. The only people they see around them look like them, exactly like them. There's not many foreigners there. And then on top of that, being vegan, that is a whole new concept that is just completely different from what they've ever heard of before. So I really wanted a book to just display other cultures and other people that look different, have different eating habits, and just to really teach them that there's other things that out here, not anything is better or worse, just different. Everything's just different. And it was a way for me to teach the kids a little bit about the vegan lifestyle without it being so adult, I guess you can say, which can be sometimes very intense or harsh, the way people talk about the topic. So the book just came all out of love, and just really just love for our environment and creatures around us and our home, which is planet Earth. So that's how that came about. So I read the books to the kids, and they absolutely loved it. And then that's when I decided to actually put it on the internet for other children around the world, because I was like, if they love it so much, there might be some other kid across the world who might enjoy it as well. So that's kind of how that happened.
Perfect. And then spiraling into from being an influencer and becoming an author and doing real estate and marketing, what has been the hardest part of your journey so far?
That's a good question. So, I mean, I know personally in real estate, I'll just give a pretty good example. It seems like when you are a young woman, especially, if people don't take you seriously, and the sphere of real estate that I work in, and I think that sometimes can be very difficult when you walk into a space where you have 99.9% men who are, 50 and up, and you come into a space ready to play ball, and they're like, they don't take you serious or anything. I think that's been probably the biggest hurdle I've had to overcome. But definitely when you've been in the industry for a little bit, they definitely start to take you seriously and see what you're doing out in the community. So they definitely eventually, pay attention.
Yeah. And before you started with what you're doing, what are some of the things that you wish you knew?
Well, I think when I first started, I wish somebody would have told me how valuable it would have been to have a mentor. I think I would have not made as many mistakes if I had somebody in the same sphere to guide me through, which, I think it's great to learn things on your own and kind of figure it out as you go, but I do believe that when you have somebody with experience who understand what your goals are, it can be very beneficial to have somebody like that to just kind of help guide you.
Perfect. And if you saw someone younger, they came up to you and they said, I want to become a realtor, I want to be an author, or I want to become an influencer, what's some advice that you would give them?
I would definitely tell them to just go for it. Everybody has the excuse that they've never done it before, they're a newbie. Well, everyone's a newbie before they're not. So definitely to just go for it and, have faith in themselves instead of second-guessing themselves and making things more complicated. Just try it and see what happens, and you'd be surprised how far you get when you just give it a go.
Perfect. And we admire everything that you're doing right now, Kat Theo. We love what you're doing, just being able to reach out to people and giving them opportunities that they may have never known about prior to. And we just want to thank you for contributing to the great cause and sharing your experience as an influencer and a boss lady with our platform. And we want to conclude the interview by asking you if someone wanted to get in contact with you, what is the best method? How can they reach you?
Well, my YouTube channel, I definitely read all of the comments. So I prefer people, if they have a specific question that other people might have as well, to put it there so it's public, and then I can refer them to that same video or place. But Instagram is always another place they can find me and ask questions in a DM form. And my handle is just kat.theo, just my name with a period in between. And that's also a good way. Facebook, if they have Facebook and not Instagram, it's also Kat Theo. They can find me. Not too many of us.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this, giving us the advice and just letting us go along with the journey with you and contributing to the CEO and her platform. We just thank you so much.